Hey everybody, I'm Alex Big Blue, and this is my top 10 Justice League. So I'll be telling you guys my top 10 favorite characters in the Justice League ever, from 10 to 1. So let's go ahead and get right to it. At number 10, Dr. Fate. I think Dr. Fate is a very underrated character still for a lot of people that doesn't know who he is, because I think only really people who are huge DC fans or huge comic fans in general probably still know who he is for the most part, even though he was in the Black Adam movie, which, by the way, I liked his portrayal in that quite a bit. I think the actor in that, Pierce Brosnan, did a great job playing him, I thought. And yeah, I liked the portrayal of Dr. Fate in general in that movie, as well as all the animated stuff I've seen him in, and of course the comic books. And I just think he's a very interesting character for a litany of reasons. First and foremost, I would say is his interesting backstory and like kind of overall mythos. And I think his costume is awesome. Very iconic look with that kind of almost looks like a giant bell for a helmet type of look. I just think he looks really cool. His powers are super overpowered. And I think he's a very interesting mystical type of character in the DC overall, like comics and otherwise. And yeah, I just think he's a really cool character that I like a lot. At number 9, Hawkman. So Hawkman is a character that's really grown on me a lot in the last few years. And I think he's just a very interesting and likable character pretty much in general as a starting point. But also I think his look as a character is kind of iconic. Like when you think of like bird type of characters or flying characters, he's definitely one of the ones that come to mind first, I always think. And also besides that, I really like him in the comics a lot. Just in a whether he's like a part of a team or it's his own comic or whatever the case is, or a team up with Hawkgirl. I just think he's always very fascinating, and I find his stories usually pretty enjoyable as well. Also, another thing is I like all of his portrayals in movies and TV shows that I've seen so far too, including of course the animated stuff. But also in Black Adam, I thought once again he actually was really well played in that, and I like this character a lot. It was kind of the best thing in that movie probably, alongside Doctor Fate, and the Justice Society of America in general was cool in it. But also I liked him a lot in the kind of like Arrowverse, or like like in the Flash show. I think he was in that, and he was in the Legends of Tomorrow show, which I actually liked quite a bit, especially for a while. And yeah, he was always one of the best characters in that, I thought as well, and I liked him in that too. And yeah, he's just a very interesting character, I think. At number 8, Starfire. So Starfire has always been a character since I started watching Teen Titans in the early 2000s. That show, I'd say that's probably where it started. But I've liked her a lot as a character, and she's definitely one of my favorite Teen Titans. Way up there, probably number 2 overall, if I had to say. I think it's what she was when I actually ranked them. But yeah, she's a very interesting character. For one, her looks is very unique and very cool, being that, of course, alien in nature, and her power set is very interesting. And I also think her overall vibe of being kind of a fish out of water, with being on Earth and not being used to all the customs and the way things are, including emotions and stuff, has always made her very interesting. And I think that makes her a very unique character. And yeah, I just really like her a lot. At number 7, Green Lantern, but not just Green Lantern, Hal Jordan Green Lantern. So Hal Jordan Green Lantern was one of the probably characters in DC outside of like probably Batman, Superman, ones like that, that I learned about a long time ago when I was really young, and I've always liked in theory. And then not long after that, I started seeing Green Lantern in different incarnations as different people being him kind of pop up and stuff. And I've always loved the character of Green Lantern, no matter which one it is, since then. But Hal Jordan has always been one of my favorite Green Lanterns, and actually he's my second favorite one, which I still like him a lot, even though there's somebody else I like a little more. And yeah, I just think his personality really, where he stands up for what he thinks is right, and is kind of risky in general, but tries to always do the right thing, is very admirable, and I always liked that about him a lot. And in general, Green Lanterns have the coolest just about powers of anybody, probably. Definitely up there with anybody, I'd say. It's a very cool character as Hal Jordan being Green Lantern. And yeah, I just think he's a really likable character. At number 6, Barry Allen Flash. So the Flash, the kind of most famous one, anyways, is a character that I've always really liked a lot, and especially as Barry Allen. I like Wally West and others as him too, but Barry Allen is pretty much always the one that I happen to read or watch stuff of. It was that version usually. So I've always really liked the Flash a lot. I think he's a very interesting character and one of the most iconic, of course, in DC. His costume is immaculate. His powers is probably probably unmatched pretty much in speed and the crazy powers that he gets from the Speed Force against even other awesome speed characters. And his brain as Barry Allen being very intelligent and also just a very likable character as a person and otherwise. And I think has made him one of the best ones I think in DC. And also I think in general it makes him a great hero because he really is just heroic in nature. And all right, before I get to the top five, let me just say the top five are all extremely close. And I feel like on any given day, some of these ones would switch spots. Like there's probably a lot of different rankings that could come out of this, but as of right now, this is what feels right to me. So that's what I'm going to go with. So at number five, Superman. So the most iconic superhero of all, I think that's probably not even questionable. He is the first superhero, really. I mean, as far as like famous superheroes go, and I think maybe even in general, but certainly as far as the ones that carried over into popular history. And I think Superman, despite all of his unbelievable, crazy powers, which are great and interesting in its own right, what makes people that really like him really adore the character is the fact that he is invariably human in nature. Like the way he feels about things, his mindset is very, loving and even patriotic in the old in the old comic books. But he's just like a very lovable and caring person, even despite being technically a Kryptonian. And so, despite all of his crazy powers and all of that stuff, the thing that makes him really good as a character is his heart and his mind, and all that stuff. Just being a very caring and good hero, honestly. And all the powers just make him over the top as far as like that meshes well with having a good character like that. But yeah, Superman is always super cool in everything. And I really like Smallville a lot. And of course, I like him in the comics. And all of the animated stuff he's great in. And yeah, just in general, I really like Superman a lot as a character. And like I said, the top five are all extremely close. But I love Superman, and he definitely had to be in the top five. At number four, Firestorm. So Firestorm is a character that I just happened to read a random issue of like probably 15 years ago or 12 or something like that. It's been a long time. And ever since then, I got fascinated with the character because I thought it seemed like a really interesting kind of type of character because he's generally more than one mind talking in his own head as the hero. So that was always fascinating since I ever read that, and I really like his second run in comics. I really like that a lot, and he keeps growing on me even more and more as a character that I really like. His power set is very fascinating. His look as a character is very cool, and I just think he's one of the most kind of outstanding characters in DC, especially to not be as famous as a lot of the big hitters that you're used to. And yeah, I just love Firestorm as a character and love reading stories of him. So he's been rising in the ranks rapidly. And yeah, I definitely think he deserves a spot for me here at four. At number three, Nightwing. So three and two is almost just about tied. I mean, like even as we speak. But at number three, it was Nightwing because I'm just counting him as Nightwing here, not also as Robin, by the way, because that would compound his ranking. But Nightwing is a great character, and I think maybe, quite possibly, the best second version of a character ever, where they start off as a hero or villain and turn into another character technically, with like such an iconic character as Nightwing. I think Dick Grayson is a very cool character in general. I've always loved him as Robin too, but this is about Nightwing. So him as Nightwing, like I said, just an unbelievably cool and likable character. It's just about as simple as that. And I always love whenever he shows up in any books that I'm reading, and also in any of the shows or anything like that, and the games too, as far as that goes. But yeah, Nightwing is just really likable, and I've always liked Dick Grayson the most. He's my favorite Robin, also. So him as Nightwing is a character that I've always immensely liked since I started reading him. At number two, Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern. So first of all, Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern is my favorite Green Lantern. And I think him as Green Lantern is really awesome. For one, he has another unique costume that's different from the others that I really like a lot. Maybe the most. I don't know, him or Hal's probably between them two. But also, he is an artist and he makes some of the most intricate, awesome looking things with his power ring. So he has all kinds of awesome things that he does through that. as a Green Lantern. And also, depending on what day it is, he may be my overall favorite DC character too at times. But yeah, he's always one of my favorites for sure. He is one of the most likable heroes in all of DC and all of comics, period. I really like his personality probably by as much as anybody. And he's also, a lot of the stories that me and my brother read of him a long time ago really got me into the character back then. And I think some of his books really hit home with a lot of his emotional stuff that he had went through, of course, including his girlfriend getting brutally murdered, which is horrible. And yeah, some of the scenes of him going to her grave really stick out to me, and I remember reading those ones. And it was just really emotional, you know. It's just like it was really raw. He's a character that they really let kind of go through it sometimes to really show off like that he is a person, and you know that not just being really powerful is always the best, but being a real person and having to work through that and be powerful is one of the coolest things in comics. So yeah, I really love him a lot as a character. At number one, Batman. So Batman, of course, is not just one of the most famous characters and most iconic characters ever for no reason. It's for a ton of reasons why everybody likes him so much. He is a perfect superhero character to be in a crime noir setting like that. In a gothic city full of maniacs, Batman is the Cape Crusader who protects the innocent and delivers brutal beatdowns to any unlucky enough to do crime in his sight. I think that really has always made him a really fun character. And I also just think, in general, the fact that he is, when he's done at his best, is a really good detective. And he's not like overall like unbelievably powerful that can beat up everybody like some people want to say. That's not really who he is. That's not who I like him as. I like him as a very capable and very tough character that does win a lot of fights against people above his pay grade at times, but really is a great detective and just a overall capable character that's very intriguing for a lot of reasons. And also all of his gadgets and of course his various sidekicks all add to him as well. I think Batman is just a very cool and kind of maybe not always the most likable personality at times, but understandable and one you feel for because of what he's going through. And also, you just like him because of what he's trying to do, not always how he acts, but like some of the other characters I like as well. Like, you know, his heart's in the right place and you really root for him for that reason. And yeah, Batman just super iconic, and I really have always liked him a lot for sure. I'm Alex Blue. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you later.